Welcome back, guys. We got the 330 back in the garage. I suppose I should specify because, well, I have 1, 2, and 3 330 CIs. But today we're going to work on the silver 330 CI. Last episode, let's see, we did the oil pan. And we found our lower control arm bushings are pretty well knackered. Right up kind of there. So we're going to go ahead and replace those. Already got her up in the air, all set to go. Get our new Lemporter control arm lollipops, however you want to call them. These are right and left, so make sure that you're paying attention to that when you put them on. Also, they're front and back. You see how this has a recess that goes over some bosses that are in the chassis. You want to make sure that you get that lined up before you start driving those bolts in. I've seen a lot of people snap them off, bottom them out. But first step is going to be undo the 2 bolts under the car and probably just kind of hammer them off. I don't think they'll be on there too bad. They already are pretty loose. So let me get you set up and we'll go ahead and start that. This should come off pretty easy because we've already had this dropped. So you can see our control arm drop down a little bit. And these will just kind of fall off. Oh, they're on there pretty good. Oh, there we go. Oh, nope. That's not what came loose. The bushing came apart. I told you these are bad. I want to see if I can get this thing off. All right, we got them both off. The one that came apart, I had to cut a little groove in the outer sleeve. You just have to get through that. It just takes a little pressure off, and then a little persuasion. Was able to knock it the rest of the way off. And obviously, if you're doing this, 1, wear eyeglasses, and 2, don't go too far because you don't want to go into the control arm. You can see in here I didn't cut all the way through, just got that outer sleeve. Then that bush or the lollipop came right off. This side I was able to get, again, just with a good old Tanya Harding. I might actually save on these just because there's nothing wrong with the housings. You can buy the bushings, they're really cheap. I mean, I think it was still only like, I don't know, 60 bucks for the pair, something like that, maybe not even that much. But if I want to go poly, say on my autocross car, you know, I could just pop these out real quick, slam those in and swap them out, easy peasy. So I've got the new bushings here matched up. Right side, yes, it's on the left on the screen, but I'm just orienting it the way that I'm crawling it underneath the car. So that's the right side that I took off. The new right side, again, making sure that we've got them oriented the right way because you've got those recesses that have to go over the bungs underneath. And then the left side also. To help go on, I've seen people use dish soap, silicone spray, Sil Glide. This stuff, it works really well for me. It's just air tool oil. It's very slippery. As far anything that I've done like this, it's worked really well. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. I'm gonna take the right side first. I'm just actually gonna put this on the control arm, and I'll show you when we go under there. Cleaned up underneath the control arm as well. All right, you can see, clean this whole end off, all the gook and grime. I don't care about this. It's under the car. No one's gonna see it. But again, just makes it a little easier. You're not fighting dirt and grime and road crap that's accumulated over however many years. I did look at the control arms and the old bushings. I don't see any kind of maker's mark, so I don't know. You know, I'm sure they weren't anything super high quality. You know, I like getting a Lemporter. That stuff lasts forever. Plus, you know, if you do it through SCP, you get a lifetime warranty. Although this car is going to be sold, hopefully. The one gentleman that was interested in it backed out. So still got a couple more things that we got to do on this. So we need to just kind of slide this on, and there really is only one way. I don't know if you can see in there, but it's an oblong hexagon. So it's only going to go on one way. All right, so we got the passenger side on. I actually had to scrap the air tool oil idea, and we went with good old-fashioned on. So I'll show you that on the other side here. The other one wasn't doing very well. And again, when you put this up, you want to make sure that you're on the recess, that this isn't sitting funky. And then I just like to start these by hand just to make sure that you're not cross-threading, because that is a threaded boss inside the frame rail, and you don't want to snap that off or have to try to fix that, because that's just a bad day. So let's go ahead and get this thing lubed up. Usually just dump a little on my hand. I want to just kind of go over it real good, make sure you get it all the way up and nice and lubed so that thing slides on. We got her nice and lubed up. Again, you just want to make sure it's coated everywhere, all over that shaft area there. Then we're going to go ahead and take our lollipop. Before we go sticking it on, we want to make sure that we got the orientation right, so we're not fighting with it. We don't want to end up you know, backwards and sideways, and again, looking for these recesses to go on these bosses right here. But we just want to lube the inside of there real good, and just get, you know, finger in there, get it all lubed up. There's really not room for two. I mean, you can try, but you know, just one. Just get in there, get it nice and sauced up. I think we'll just use a little bit more. Not anything wrong with having a little too much lube. If you don't have enough, you sure know. So just get in there again, and you know, kind of feel it, or get it all the way around there. That way it slides in real nice. So get our it's oriented correctly. All right, we're getting there, but so far just the tip. Oh, there we go. We're all the way in. All right. So now if we go in, hear that clank? That means we're seated. All right, we got them all run through the cheek poker, lubed up with a little bit of Tin Man Never Sees. You just need a little dab, just enough to kind of coat the thread. Don't go crazy with it. If we can get her started with by hand. Yeah. That's feeling okay. All right, let's run her up with the gun. And we'll have to torque her to spec. Zap the other one up. Side of the camera. So this is pretty much all set. And just looking back here, we got just the tiniest bit of oil coming out of there. There could be a rear main that's starting to leak. But we are not dropping the transmission. That's just not something I'm signed up for. We did the oil pan. That was the big Mama Jamma, the big leak. You see she's nice and dry all the way on the passenger side, the right side. We got a new crush washer on the drain plug. That's good. I don't really see any oil. I mean, just there, but that's probably for me farting around here today. No oil on the downpipes, the cats, like we had before from the leaky valve cover, so I'm pretty happy. We just need to kind of figure out what this little coolant leak is. I think it's just that lower hose, and we should be good to go under here. And of course, we got to do these boots. I'm trying to decide if I'm going to do them today or not. Take our wheel off, pop the tie rod off, undo the boot, slap the new boot on. The tie rods feel nice and tight, so I think we're good there. So maybe that's what I'll do real quick. Do that before we put that splash shield back on. I don't think it'll be in the way, but just, you know, any more clearance is pretty good clearance. So I'm gonna go ahead and start taking this tie rod apart. We need to take this nut off. This is a 19 mil, and there is a hex on the top. If you're lucky like I am, and this is a Southern vehicle, you can actually probably put a Allen in there to hold the tie rod end from spinning around. Another cheat code is to put a floor jack up underneath the tie rod. Since that is a tapered seat, you put pressure on it from below. It should hold it, and you'll be able to back that nut off. And then for this inner tie rod, basically what I did, so I know where it is to get us close, is paint mark the threads here. And then I also paint marked the nut all the way across the nut onto the outer tie rod. I'll also count how many turns I do to get that off, and then we'll count how much we undo the outer tie rod. So we get it back close to where we were. It's going to need an alignment after we get this off. We don't need to actually pull this we shouldn't need to have to pull this inner tie rod off to get the boot on. We just need to separate this joint. In order to do that, we got to take this tie rod end off and undo it all the way. So unfortunately, I don't have a box wrench big enough for this nut. It looks like it's like a 23. The biggest I got is a 22. Then I'm going to use a 13 mil here on the inner tie rod, just to kind of hold it. We're going to just kind of break everything loose ahead of time. Oh, there we go. before we get too crazy here. So that's loose. And then we want to break this tie rod end here at the knuckle. We got our, sorry, it was 18. Oh, there we go. And just watch the top of it. If it starts spinning, and you know you gotta hold it in the center, but this is in there pretty good. And then we're just gonna tap it out. I don't want to use a pickle fork or anything like that to get this out, because I don't want to tear that boot and then have to replace the tie rod end. All right, so now we got our tie rod end out. Had to kind of get a little creative with a couple of pickle forks. So now we need to just take this outer tie rod off. So since we have that jam nut all off, we're just gonna undo this counterclockwise, and we are gonna count the revolutions. I'm gonna hold the inner tie rod so that doesn't move, hopefully. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now you do want to go kind of slow, because as you get near the end, it's just going to fall off. So we're at 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, about 20. We got the outer tie rod end off. We take this sleeve off, keep that sort of safe. We'll unthread this. All right, so we got the jam nut off, we got that collar off. Now we can start taking the remainder of that boot. Well, look at what I found here. You know, I'm working on this and a little bit of squirrel, but that is a BMW logo. So these are BMW control arms. I have to keep looking to see if I can find a date code. So that's good. Like I said, this thing's had some good maintenance. I mean, we've had to tackle a lot of leaks and stuff, but all right, so we just have this outer clamp that we got to take off. All right, we got that off. And we should be able to just slide this remainder of this boot off. Maybe a little persuasion. There we go, I got that part off. Same for that inner boot. Found this flathead screwdriver worked the best. There we go, got that. Knock that off. Yeah, it might just need a little persuasion because this is probably the original boot. Stuck a little bit. All right, I got the new boot. We'll reassemble. All right, so here we got our new Phoebe boot kit. It does come with 2 spacers. They go on the inside edge of the boot. It's not like the OEM one that it's actually integrated in the boot. I'm sure that's an original boot. What we want to do first is to slide. All right, so I might have forgotten to press record somewhere. I'm not sure. I apologize for the junk, but we got our tie rod back in, all torque to spec, 48 foot-pounds. Got our 2 clamps on, a little bit of OCD. I like them lined up. It just makes it a little easier to get closer to the tool. That's really about it. All right, so we just need to tighten up our clamps. This is a hose clamp, or a CV boot style clamp, and a tool that I bought just on Amazon. It's cheap. I'll try to throw a link down in the description. You just want her tight. All else fails. You know, I've seen a lot of people use zip ties, but you can also crush these with a pair of side cutters. You know, you don't need all the force of Jiffy Lube putting drain plugs on. You just want it on there nice and snug so it's not going to go anywhere. You can see we're also got the steering rack centered. That makes it a little easier. So I'm just going to rinse and repeat on the other side, and then this job's done. All right, we got her just about ready to go back down on the ground. Got our belly pan in, got the skid plate, reinforcement plate, whatever you want to call it, back in place. Both sides got new boots, so we should be able to protect that rack. Even got the little radar thing out. So I think that's going to call that here. The cart is absolutely filthy. Pollen that's all over everything. I actually cleaned the gray 330 the other day, and it's all full of pollen already. It's just that time of year. Can't have anything nice and clean. So like I said, I'm gonna go ahead and finish cleaning up, and we are all set. So what's left to do on this car? We still have the rear diff bushing to do. We'll change that diff fluid while we're there. And I've got a check engine light that keeps coming on. I'll probably make a separate video for that, just showing you the diagnostic tools that I use. and we'll go from there. So I totally forgot we needed to take this for a drive after doing all that work. So I can't really zoom back far enough, but it's pretty much tracking totally straight. Now don't look at that. The steering cover is just not on, centered on the wheel, but she's tracking really good. So we definitely got the tie rods pretty much back where they were. Like I said, still should get a alignment. What is also interesting is I was always complaining about the steering feeling really light and loose, and guess what? With these new control arm lollipops, the steering feels much tighter. It's not as tight as my 330 Ci that I autocross with, but that's got, you know, brand new control arms on it, brand new tie rods, so all those joints are real nice and tight. This is much better, and obviously that one lollipop was pretty much two pieces. I mean, I finished it off trying to get it off, but that one was really bad. So I'm glad we did that. Go ahead and a little squirt here. She goes pretty good. It's not as quick as the manual 330 Ci, but you know, it does okay. And you know, it's still kind of fun. It's smooth. I actually really enjoy driving this one around as a daily because it is just kind of smooth and nice, and it's a little quieter, especially in Atlanta traffic. It's nice having the automatic. So I don't know, this might stick around for just a little bit. I haven't really decided yet. The problem with hanging on to it is the longer I have it, the more I want to do to it, and that, you know, that just eats into the profit of the flip. But that also means that the next person's just getting that much nicer of a car, and I really want to do these ABC pillars. They're just nasty. Really takes away from the interior of the car, and then do the headliner as well. So I'll probably do that. I mean, it's about $100 of material. It's really not that bad, and I think it really will make this a nicer place to be for the next owner and myself while we play around with it. But I also put the Android unit in here from the black car. For some reason, I don't have any sound. I really haven't figured that out yet or played with it to figure it out. I do know that the door speaker down here I don't have plugged in. You saw kind of the janky wiring before on that. You know, who knows if the other door speaker works, back speakers, I don't know. I didn't really try it with the other radio, so we might have to pull this one back out and throw the stock one in, see if it works. I don't remember if I tried it or not, but you can see we're still doing really good. We're, you know, middle tap. We do have to figure out that little bit of coolant leak, but I've driven this about 150 miles so far, and it's really great. I mean, we still do have to do the rear diff bushing, and mechanically I think that's about it. I did mention that we're getting a check engine light intermittently, P0014. I'm not really sure what that's going to entail, so we'll have to. It's something about exhaust cam retarded, so I'm sure it's something with Vanos, but it's fun to kind of, I mean, that was only like half throttle, but it's still fun. It sounds fun. It moves, you know, decently, but I can definitely hear that diff slam each gear. So we got to do that before long, before we cause other problems with it. But so far so good. I mean, we're up on the parkway here, doing 62 or so, and it feels pretty good. I mean, it doesn't handle obviously like the gray car. You know, this has got stock suspension that's 20 years old, worn out, and you know, stock sway bars. So this kind of floats and flops a little bit, and but I tell you, with those new lollipops, it is so much better in the steering feel department. So that really makes me happy. I really wondered what was so loose, and the shakedown, I don't really remember seeing that move a lot. So you know, it was a good find. I'm glad I did it. and again, just kind of make it a little nicer car for the next person. So we're just gonna kind of head back home. The shakedown run's going really well. Holy rev hang. That's hilarious, but we are in sport mode. I get it, that's what it's supposed to do, but that was pretty obnoxious rev hang. But anywho, so I think I'm gonna end this one here. That will never not get old. Yeah, I think I'm gonna get out of here, guys. I appreciate y'all watching. I love all the comments. You know, welcome to all the new subscribers. If you haven't already, you like the content, you know, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe so you can see more progress on this and the other projects that I'm working on as well. Appreciate it, and we will see you next time.